There's certain artists you could challenge them with strong songs. Certain artists, because of their limitations, you give them the simpler stuff.
Okay.
But even in simplicity, you have to have a certain level of complexity, because you have to have, well, the songs must remain at a level.
Right.
You understand? So
Right.
all those things are considered, and and what you must always do, which I do. I'm always very hard on myself. I'm my toughest critic.
Yes.
And until the song impresses me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't bring it. I am not finished with it.
Okay. Fair enough. So how would you consider, or how do you consider your contribution to Carnival?
I do my best, and like I say, it is important for everybody, every citizen, to contribute to his country.
Okay.
Okay, and you should contribute in your field as best as you can. And what I do is my contribution. Like I say, there is pleasure in it for me as well, but it's my contribution to my country and to my fellow man. Like I say, it's not a money thing. I make my money here doing accounting work, bookkeeping and taxes, and some of the money I make here I invest it into Calypso in Dominica. So the Calypso is not a money making thing for me.
Right. Right.
It's my contribution, to my country.
Right. That's deep. That's very deep. And that's what it's all about, people. It's all about loving Dominica and just giving back selflessly, and actually identifying with who you are, what you are, what is your passion, and how do you continue along that passion, continue with that passion, and find good people around you to develop and nurture that passion. So you say you do some bookkeeping and accounting. Tell me what else you're up to.
Well, that most of all, because maybe most people might not know or remember that, but I was a civil servant for about 6 years, 1971 to 77. I worked at the Inland Revenue at the tax department. So when I migrated to the USA, I figured, the best thing is probably to use your experience, and put it into use. So I studied the tax system here. I worked at H&R Block for several years. I ran one of the offices. But I'm not a person who, I'm not an employee. I'm always more comfortable being self-employed. So I went into business for myself, and I've had my business for, I would say, maybe about 14 years.
Wow.
I've built up quite a clientele, of mostly, American people. I have a few Dominicans, quite a few other West Indians, but I have clientele from the cross section of not just New York. I have customers in Miami, in California.
That's awesome.
In
That's great.
Philadelphia,
That's
in
great.
Maryland, in Virginia. I have customers from all
That's
over the
great.
place.
That's great. So he's not only a writer, people. He's also a
Figures
tax.
person.
Yes, he knows about the numbers. I don't know how much better we can get here. This is amazing. I'm seeing a different side of Pat Aaron, people. We always thought he was just the man behind the music, but there you have it. He is a numbers man.
Thank you. And apart from that, well, music, I run a Calypso tent in Dominica,
Okay.
Showdown Mass Camp,
Okay.
and I have some great guys around me, like my brother Randy, who has always been a strong pillar, beneath me, like the wings beneath my wings.
Wow.
Yeah, then I
Wow,
have
that's
guys.
deep.
Yeah. For a brother and my brother and my best friend.
Yes.
Then you have guys like the Bob. Then you have guys like Bernard Georges, and I have other strong support from, my wife Annie, and you have other guys like Sai, guys like Cess. These guys I must mention because they have been there like pillars.
That's
you know,
good.
and without them it couldn't happen, because most of the carnival season I am up here, because carnival season in Dominica is tax season up here.
Very true.
So but I'm on the phone while I'm doing taxes. I'm on the phone hours a day coordinating, things, with everybody down there, and it is a very, very challenging thing. I'm always multitasking.
Right.
You know.
What I really wanted to get to people is that not only can you just have, one career, we can have more than one. We can do things. We can do so much more, if we only put our minds to it. And that is proof. Right here, we have a legend. Right here, you can see. So now that you talked about tax season and our carnival time, which is, usually February, March, which is right there with the March 15th deadline, U.S. tax deadline. There's talk of changing our carnival date to sometime in the
May, I think.
Is it May or is it sometime during the summertime? Nonetheless, what is your feeling on that? How do you feel about the change of such a significant time in our history and our lives?
All right. I would not like it to sound too personal. Having mentioned it colliding with our carnival colliding with the tax season, it could sound a little selfish, that I would do it for my reasons. But I think I was one of the people who pioneered that discussion, because I feel for several reasons. Our carnival falls most times around early to mid-February.
Yes, very early sometimes.
And this is right after Christmas, which is right after Independence and World Creole Music Festival.
Right.
And with limited resources, people going to carnival being broke.
Yes.
As a result, we have the qualities of our bands down. And as far as Calypso goes, it's always a rush trying to prepare, because all the morning of the Calypso finals, guys are preparing their presentation, running around, doing this kind of stuff.
Wow.
So my point is, if carnival was to be, say, around May, even end of March or April, where you have January, February, March, you have 3 months to prepare. Here are the positive spin-offs. Our carnival is dependent a lot on Dominicans in the diaspora coming home for carnival. The times Dominicans have the most money would be around March. Everybody file the taxes, everybody gets a refund, everybody have more money, they can come down.
Yes.
There is more time for the Calypsos to leave Dominica, come out there and pull people down, because when people up here and they hear the Calypsos playing, that's what pull them down,
Yes, absolutely.
They want to go to carnival. Sometimes you have no intention of going, but when you hear the Calypsos playing on the radio, you want to go.
Yes.
So that gives the Calypsos more time to operate. That gives the Calypsonians more time. That makes the competition bigger. It's more time for costume builders to build.
Right.
It's more time for the carnival queens to prepare.
Right.
It's more time for the merchants to recover from Christmas and be able to play their part by sponsoring, the band. So people say, why don't you start planning as soon as carnival is over? But even if you start you're planning, if you give a Dominican $5,000 in December, see if you could use some for Christmas, use some in November, use some for Independence, use some for Christmas, and try to leave some for carnival. It's impossible.
It is very impossible, because we all know Dominicans love to party.
There you go.
That is very true.
You need a little time to recover from Christmas to get into carnival.
Yeah. So you know what? On a different note, completely, what is the relationship like between the Calypso show and and your association? Okay. So you mentioned that you are. So you mentioned that you are the man behind the Showdown Camp, Mass Camp. Tell me, what is your feeling of the Calypso Association? Tell me what you think of the Calypso Association, and tell me what the relationship is like with the both of them.
Well, the Calypso Association has made strides. And I don't know if you're aware that recently they just opened the Calypso House at Buffer State, which is a great milestone for Calypso in Dominica.
Yes.
I too have, before I migrated here in the 80s, 1988, I used to be the secretary of the Dominica Calypso Association. So I myself, NC, and a few other guys ran it until I left and came here. No, recently, before I came up in early January, we had election and I was reappointed on the executive.
Okay.
But that was just a day before I came up here, so I haven't done anything.
Okay.
But